Well, work is progressing on the instrument panel. We took it and got the bends made on it last night. I tried to bend this in the my little brake. After I checked it, the size it would fit in the brake. And I took some of the scrap pieces here, the cutoffs from when I cut it out on the bandsaw, stuck it in the brake, and it bent up just fine. But when I stuck the whole thing in there, there was no way it was going to bend. I have a friend with a big hydraulic brake he uses for building boats and stuff. I took it over there last night and we made the bends. He made the bends. Got a nice double bend here on the bottom, and then a bend on the top, and the ones on the sides here are pretty much a copy of what the original one is. And I added these bends here on the lower side just to stiffen it up some more, but once I got it bent, there was no problem with the stiffness on this thing. So I got to do a little bit of trim work here on the side to take off this edge here on this double bend a little bit so it'll clear the paneling on the inside of the airplane. And the same with this side. I might have to change this bend a little bit here or cut it off entirely. We'll work on that now. Got all the holes all polished up here and all of the edges all sanded and smooth and everything, so it's coming along pretty good. I made some modifications to the bottom of that instrument panel, cut off a little bit of that lowered flange and trimmed it back a little bit, and then rebent that middle flange and increased the angle of the bend of it to about 60 degrees or so instead of 90 degrees, and it fits in there pretty good now. It just rubs just a little bit on the plastic on the Kydex on the side panels, just a little bit. I took a machinist level and leveled up the fuselage. I laid it across those two X braces that go from the forward door post and window post up to the engine mount, and leveled the fuselage up with machinist level. And then I drilled a hole on the left side for the mount screw for the instrument panel, and then I leveled up the instrument panel with the machinist level so that it's real close with what the fuselage was, and drilled a hole here on the left side. I don't have my Cleco pliers here. I loaned those out, so I can't put Clecos in them, which was what my intent was, so I've just got a spring clamp on the right side here for now, and a drill bit in the hole on the left side to line it up. I'm really happy with the way that thing is looking right now. Get the hole set up, get it mounted, and then I'll make sure I have clearance on the back side of the instrument panel for all of the instruments the way they're laid out, and the radio panel and all of that. I've got all the holes, or most of the holes here on the right side laid out. I just have to cut those, but again, I just wanted to make sure that they were all gonna have clearance in them and fit on the back side. And so I'll get those holes all lined out. The only holes that I don't have lined out so far are for the intercom. They will go above the comm radio. When I get the instrument panel set up in there, I drilled the holes. I put rivet nut or nut zerts in the mount pads for the instrument panel there, and put some screws in, hold it on. It's all almost perfectly level with the fuselage. Checking out some of my mounting, and everything looks good. I was worried about some of those, the position of some of those switches and controls and stuff there on bottom, and so far they look good. I still need to check the ones on the left hand side for the mixture and carb heat and those other controls, but I think they're going to be fine. The only problem that I wound up with was with the VHF radio. It's in there nice, but it rides right on this diagonal. It's this piece that goes between the door post and the engine mount diagonally across there. It's just almost perfect on it, but it is riding on it. Everything else is going to be good. I didn't count on this instrument panel being canted back or forward, as the case may be, a little bit, and so it winds up canting this radio a little bit. I've got all of the holes drilled in the instrument panel for all the different things that are going in it now. Got the holes drilled over here for the switches, the circuit breakers, for the controls for the carburetor heat, the mixture and the cabin heat controls, the primer. And I just did the ones for those, starter, intercom. I brought the instrument panel over and mounted it back up, and then I brought some of the things over to try to fit them in there, just to try to see how they were going to fit, just to make sure there was enough clearance for everything. And it all really looks good now. There's plenty of clearance in here for everything. There's no interference between the switches and circuit breakers or any of the stuff behind the panel now. I'm really happy with the way that is. I just have pilot holes drilled in this engine instrument holes, so I didn't mount those in. I just kind of got them hanging there. They've drilled those holes out yet. The holes didn't quite line up right on these flight instrument cutouts. The screw mounting holes didn't quite line up right. That cardboard that I had on there, the poster board, it was a heavy poster board, and it just, the bits wandered in it. It didn't transfer the holes right into the aluminum panel underneath. So I'm going to have to redo those. I'm going to have a friend TIG weld those holes up and redo them. The big holes are fine, but just the mount holes are not quite right. And then I've got to have I've got a little piece cut in to go in underneath this VHF radio to fill in that section. I'll have him TIG weld that in there too. Otherwise, everything looks really good on that. I'm really happy with it.